Hey there, and welcome to Singapore Changi Airport for the start of another trip report. Today, I'll be on board a very exciting, ultra-long flight from Singapore to Newark in business class on one of Singapore Airlines' ultra-long-range Airbus A350-900s. This 18.5-hour-long flight used to be the longest scheduled passenger flight in the world, now dethroned by Singapore Airlines' own route from Singapore to York JFK, which is 2 miles longer. I have 2 hours here in Changi before my flight to Newark departs, just before 1 a.m., after having arrived off of a flight from Ho Chi Minh City. My transfer process here in Singapore is pretty simple, as my inbound flight parked at Terminal 3 and my next flight also departs from this terminal. As a Singapore Airlines business class passenger, I have access to the SilverKris lounge here in T3. This lounge is exclusively for passengers in suites, first class, and business class, as well as PPS Club members, and there's a separate lounge for SilverKris Gold and Star Alliance Gold members. Stepping inside, this 24/7 lounge is divided into two main areas. To the right, we have a smaller space with a staffed barista counter in the morning that becomes a bar in the evenings, and to the left, we have the larger area with ample seating and the main buffet. There are a multitude of different seating options, from different lounger chairs to high tables for working or eating. The buffet area is expansive, with a winding wall of different hot and cold options, from Asian foods like dim sum and laksa to Western foods like pasta. There's a mix of cook-to-order and self-serve stations for the hot foods, and I gravitated towards some of the dim sum options from the self-serve station, which were delicious. The quality of the food here is seriously impressive, especially considering the range of options they have on offer. I won't go listing every item, but just look at how many different trays are on these counters. There's an area with different desserts, and also a counter with a selection of gluten-free items as well. In addition to the staffed bar, there's also a counter here at the buffet with self-serve alcohol and other beverages. The lounge is also equipped with showers for freshening up, as well as a dedicated baby care room. This lounge wins a massive gold star in my books for the start of the Singapore Airlines experience, as a beautifully designed space with an impressive selection on offer. The one downside, if I had to have one, is that it's a good hike from here to my gate this evening. My flight to Newark is departing from gate A15, which is accessed via the SkyTrain that runs every 4 minutes at this hour. After what was a 4-minute ride, it was another couple minutes of walking to reach the entrance to my gate, where boarding was already underway. This unique, ultra-long flight is operated by one of Singapore Airlines' Airbus A350-900ULRs, which are specifically made for these long routes. Singapore has 7 of these A350ULRs as the only operator of the type, in addition to 57 regular A350-900s. The key difference on board is that the ULR planes have only 2 classes of service, with business class and premium economy, and no economy class cabin. Because of that, it's a super low density configuration with only 161 seats on board in total. Our aircraft for today was delivered to Singapore Airlines in September 2018 and frequents the airline's routes from their hub to the United States. Getting on board, Singapore Airlines boards their aircraft by group based on cabin of travel and frequent flyer status. Boarding begins with passengers requiring additional time or those with young children, followed by business class or PPS Club members, and finally, premium economy passengers. Entering through the front of the plane, the 67 business class seats on board are divided into two main cabins, with a smaller section at the front consisting of 23 seats and a larger 44-seat cabin behind that. All the business class seats on board are in a 1-2-1 configuration, and the 94 premium economy seats at the rear are in a 2-4-2 configuration. I find that the color of the seats and the cabin in general gives it a bit of an older feel, but at the same time a very premium look with the copper accent colors. I'm booked in seat 16K for tonight's flight, which is a window seat on the right side of the aircraft in the last row of the smaller business class cabin. Every business class seat is a private pod seat which converts into a fully lie-flat bed for sleeping. The seats are wide, like sitting on a sofa, with plenty of space for my feet when in the sitting position. These seats have a width of 28 inches and a pitch of 60 inches in the upright mode, or 78 inches of length in bed mode. In terms of baggage storage space, there's tons of space in the overhead bins down the left and right sides of the aircraft, as well as a cubby under the right padded area of my seat near the floor. Settling into my seat, it's very private with no visibility to anyone around me, thanks to the wraparound shell of the seat. It helps as well that this particular seat is in the last row of the cabin. Directly in front of me, we have an 18-inch entertainment screen, which is large and crisp, but unfortunately doesn't have touchscreen functionality, which is disappointing compared to what other airlines offer in business class. Instead, we have a remote stored on the right side with its own touchscreen to control the system. The entertainment screen itself is adjustable to allow for a small range of different viewing angles. To the left of the screen, we have a coat hook that pops out for use, and to the right of the screen, we have a small storage cubby, a ledge for placing drinks, and a mirror. Taking a look at what was provided on the seat when we boarded, we have a pillow with the rest of the bedding stored behind the seat for when I'm ready to sleep. We have an eye mask for sleeping, a pair of comfy socks, and a pair of slippers. On the side of my seat closest to the cabin wall, we have a panel with a reading light, the headphone port for connecting to the entertainment system audio, an AC power outlet, a USB-A charging port, as well as an HDMI port, which I haven't quite figured out the use for, and lastly, we have another storage space which would be perfect for a laptop or a book. At the base of that panel, we have another storage cubby which holds a water bottle and noise-canceling headphones for the entertainment system. The tray table for the seat also pops out from here, which is quite large and has several different adjustment features, including being able to turn and be raised and lowered. Looking at the literature pocket, the first item we see here is the menu for today's flight, which is a packed little booklet. Singapore offers an impressive onboard food experience with several different catering options for its passengers. Their renowned Book the Cook service, where passengers can pre-select online from a wide range of meals to enjoy on their flight, boasts dozens of different options, from lobster thermidor to steak to some impressive noodle dishes. Singapore also has a standard onboard menu like most other airlines' business class offerings, with a few curated choices for today's flight. This ultra-long flight has 2 full meal services as well as a list of items that can be ordered at any time. As a late evening departure, the first service is dinner with on-menu options including prawns with saffron couscous, sand bay chicken, or beef fillet. The next service is tagged as mid-flight onwards, which sounds just as confused as my body's gonna be with the time difference. And that meal has on-menu options of braised veal, Thai-style fried rice noodles, nasi lemak, and grilled pork loin. Everyone receives the same appetizer and canapé if offered, and there's usually a couple different options for dessert. The menu then has a refreshment section which lists snacks that can be ordered at any time in the flight, including noodle soups, sandwiches, Singapore carrot cake, and various packaged snacks. Towards the back of the menu, we have the extensive drinks list, including wines, champagnes, beers, cocktails, spirits, and non-alcoholic beverages. Needless to say, I will not be starving on this one. Also in the literature pocket, we have an air sickness bag, the safety information card for this aircraft, a card with instructions for connecting to the onboard Wi-Fi, which is complimentary for business class passengers, and the Kris Shop magazine for onboard shopping. Next to my headrest closest to the aisle, we have some reading lights, and on the inside of the armrest, we have controls for reclining the seat and adjusting the integrated seat leg rest, controlling the in-seat lighting, turning the entertainment screen on and off, and calling an attendant, as well as another connection port for the entertainment system audio. Up on the overhead panel, there are 2 more reading lights, but no adjustable air vents. Overall, the seat is spacious, comfortable, and private, and will serve as a good home for the next 18 hours.
Currently just about all set and ready to go, and we should have you on our way. On schedule and pleasant journey.
After boarding and before pushback from the gate, the cabin crew offered a pre-departure beverage of freshly squeezed orange juice, a Bellini, or champagne. The flight attendant then came through to each passenger to welcome them on board and confirm meal selections for the flight, whether from the Book the Cook menu or the in-flight menu, as well as offering a hot cleansing towel.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Once again, please remember to fasten your seatbelt and have your window shades drawn up. Thank you.
After departing Singapore just after 1 a.m. local time, tonight's flight is a little quicker than scheduled at 17.5 hours, putting us into Newark at 5:30 a.m. local time. As we continue climbing out, let's check out the entertainment system before the first meal service. Touring through it with the touchscreen remote, the remote has 5 main screens, starting with a shortcut screen with buttons into each of the entertainment categories of the system, then a flight information screen, a playlist screen for items you've favorited, and the settings screen. To move around in the screen, you use the navigation arrows on the wheel to the left. This takes a bit of getting used to, and let's be honest, it should really be a touchscreen system, but alas, I will survive. The first page is the Spotlight section, which showcases some of the different features of the system, and following that is the My Flight screen where you can access the in-flight maps, and using the remote as a touchpad allows you to freely move around the map and toggle the different view options. The maps also have a flight preview feature, which shows you just how long this flight really is. Arrival and connection information is also available on the My Flight page, as well as details about the onboard menu, the Wi-Fi, and the in-flight shopping. In terms of content available, we have on-demand movies with a good range of new releases, TV shows including live TV options such as the BBC, CNN, and other live channels, as well as series from HBO Max. There's a music section with the content organized by artist and album, as well as some mixed playlists available. The library section has audiobooks and podcasts, and lastly, there's a games section, but all the games are accessed from your personal device using the onboard Wi-Fi and QR code, with none of them actually available in the system itself. The Connect page up near Settings has enlightened me as to what exactly the HDMI port at my seat does, and apparently it lets you connect your own device to the screen to watch your own content on the big screen, which is pretty cool, I have to admit. Overall, I don't really find this system very easy to navigate or terribly impressive, but part of that certainly stems from it not being a touchscreen interface. Dinner service began about an hour after takeoff, with tablecloths laid for the first course appetizer of seared tuna loin served with cherry tomatoes, beans, olives, and quail egg. Bread was offered with the appetizer, and I opted for both garlic and a white roll, along with an adorable little butter dish. For drinks, I went for a water and a white wine. My thoughts on this appetizer: I'm not a big fan of tuna to start with, but I've been impressed before. Unfortunately, this is not one of those times, as I found this dish to be super dry and uninteresting. For my main course, I pre-selected the lobster thermidor with fondant potatoes and buttered seasonal vegetables from the Book the Cook menu. This is a classic in Singapore business class and was super tasty, plus there's definitely something special about having lobster on an airplane. A beverage top-up was offered with the main course as well, and then I turned my attention to dessert, a coconut bavarois with tropical fruit compote, which was also awesome. Aside from the mediocre appetizer, this was overall a pretty good meal. After the plates were cleared away, I asked for an amenity kit from one of the cabin crew, which are available on demand in addition to hairbrushes, earplugs, and some other extra amenities. Getting into this Penhaligon's amenity kit, the aim of this small kit is to help you freshen up, with Singapore providing the majority of other amenities like dental kits in the onboard lavatories. In this kit, we have a hand lotion, facial mist, lip balm, and a clear plastic bag for you to bring those items through security and onto your next flight, which is a really thoughtful touch. Heading to the lavatory, there are 6 lavatories on board, with 2 in between the different sections of business class, another between business and premium economy, and 3 at the very back of the plane. The lavatory is quite small, but clean, well-lit, and modern, with some lotions and facial mist provided, but what I'm really here for is the not-so-secret amenities drawer packed with goodies. Here we have air sickness bags, dental kits with a toothbrush and toothpaste, combs, razors and shaving cream, sanitary napkins, and bottles of hand sanitizer. Wandering down into the larger business class section, the 44 seats here have the same configuration as those up front, but in a much larger and less intimate feeling cabin than where my seat is located. People are generally settling in for some sleep given the late departure from Singapore. My goal is to do some work for a bit to try to adjust to New York's Eastern time zone, so I'm aiming to sleep towards the latter portion of this flight. Getting my seat reclined and a laptop out, there's endless space to work and get comfortable with a laptop in these seats. As I mentioned before takeoff, Wi-Fi access is complimentary for business class passengers, as well as for KrisFlyer members traveling in any cabin. Connecting my laptop and testing it out, similar to my last experience with Singapore Airlines onboard Wi-Fi, the service was pretty spotty and super slow, taking several minutes to send Wi-Fi-based messages through WhatsApp or iMessage. After working for a bit, I decided to get my seat converted into bed mode. Unlike some airlines' business class products which recline into a fully flat position, for these seats the seat back actually folds forwards, giving way to an ultra-wide bed that allows you to sleep on your back or side without much restriction, though you do have to angle yourself to take advantage of the footwell space. Fully made up, we have a couple pillows, a mattress cover, and a comforter. Unfortunately, Singapore doesn't offer pajamas for their business class passengers, which would be extremely useful on these ultra-long flights. I continued working in my super comfortable bed before packing it in at the T-13 hour mark to attempt to get a couple hours of sleep. I slept pretty solidly for just over 3 hours, and we're now cruising somewhere high over the North Pacific. I requested some snacks from the cabin crew from the Anytime Refreshments menu, and the crew was kind enough to bring me the whole basket to pick what I wanted, along with a water bottle. Another 3 hours later, with 7 hours to go before arrival, the cabin lights are coming back on and the crew are beginning the second meal service of the flight, starting with a refreshing hot towel and a SilverKris sling cocktail. The first course is a canapé of skewers of Singapore chicken satay, fittingly provided with some very useful wet wipes. The crew laid the tablecloth and place setting for the appetizer next, which was a marinated prawn salad served with potatoes, pickled red onion, olives, hard-boiled egg, and a Dijon herb dressing, along with some fresh bread. Both the canapé and appetizer were delicious. For my main course, I again opted for a dish from the Book the Cook menu, this time going for the Kok Ki Wonton Mee, which is a noodle dish with wontons, leafy greens, and roast pork, another really tasty choice. For dessert, a trolley came through with fruit platters, cheese plates, and a couple different sweet options, including caramelized banana cake with vanilla sauce or pistachio almond bavarois with sour cherry compote. I opted for the banana cake, which was a little dry, but overall yummy. After the plates were cleared, we're in the home stretch with another 5 hours to go before arrival in Newark. With the cabin lights dimmed once again, I managed to get another 2 hours of sleep before being woken up as we were descending into Newark.
And in a minute from now, we shall be commencing our descent. Based on our present estimate, we're looking at arriving in New York at 5:30 a.m. local time and having you at the gate shortly thereafter. There's a 13-hour time difference between New York.
Welcome to Newark, ladies and gentlemen. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened.
Thanks for joining me for this trip report, and I hope you enjoyed it. Looking at the experience as a whole, Singapore Airlines offers one of the world's best business class products, and while I do find that their hard product can feel a bit antiquated and clunky, it is spacious and comfortable. Where they really shine is with their soft product, through the impeccable service from their crew who are attentive and make you feel particularly special. That and the food, with an impressive range of delicious offerings and plenty of different drinks to go with it. Singapore Airlines business class is a special experience, and it can make even the world's longest flights feel like a total cakewalk.